Hello and welcome to the Daily Lawyer podcast. My name is Jana Krishnan. I am your host and also the founder of the Daily Lawyer. And today is yet another episode in our Careers in the Law series. I feel like I say this every time when I'm starting a new Careers in the Law series episode because every one of the guests on the episode seems so interesting and so diverse to me. But I can't help myself, and I definitely can't help myself saying this in today's episode, which is truly going to be something very sort of new age, something I know nothing about. And I'm talking about gaming and technology law. I'm not a gamer. I don't know anything about gaming. I've never been a gamer. So I'm really excited to get into this conversation. I have with me Miss Rachna Shroff. She's a gaming and tech advocate, tech lawyer. But that's not all. That's not all Rachna is. She's had this bouquet of experiences, like a really rounded legal experience, working in various roles from sort of being in litigation to a legal counsel to an independent practitioner. She's also someone who lectures a lot on gaming law. In fact, she has a webinar starting today, I think. Unfortunately, by the time the episode will be out, I think Rachna's webinar would have finished. But please follow her. You know that we leave all the links in the description. So please follow her to know a lot more. But I also want to say a few more things about Rachna because she's not just a lawyer. She's also a gold medalist in MBA. Like she holds an MBA. She's a gold medalist from Orissa University. And she is also an art of living practitioner and a teacher. So there is so much to Rachna other than the law. And I'm so excited to get to know you, Rachna. Thank you so much for making it to the Daily Lawyer podcast.
Thank you, Jenna, for having me. I can tell you if I'm more excited than you are. This has just happened, and I'm so happy that this platform will be such a big platform for so many new generation lawyers and other people to understand of course the TDL of what it is trying to do. The Daily Lawyer is becoming such a big platform to make people understand the usual or in a very simple sense what the law is and how should they take help of it. And through this you're doing such a great work of bringing different people, different genres of lawyer and introducing different fields. Thanks to you, Jenna.
So sweet, Rachnaya. Thank you so much. So I did tell the audience a little bit about you in the beginning, but of course I haven't said everything. So can you take the story forward from the time why did you become a lawyer and then your journey so far?
Oh, great. So I think today is the first time when I will very openly say that I was never interested in pursuing any other field. Why? Because I felt they were too common and I wanted to do something really out of the way. So I chose to study law. That is how law happened to me. I am a first generation lawyer and I had no idea. Things just fell for me step by step. And when I was doing my class 12, I remember I was really interested in political sciences. So my teachers, my professors had advised me that you should really look into law. And just taking that piece of advice, I was a very light and easygoing person, you know. If I liked the ideas, I would just get into it and try executing it. Not very hardly. I was just like, okay, let me have a look, what's happening, try it and give it. And then gave my exams and I got into the law school. And very funny incident I would like to share, Jenna, is when I went to get my admission in the law school after passing the exams, clearing the entrance levels. I still remember that I ran away from my college saying, calling my dad saying, no, I don't want to study here. My dad was like, okay, you go get an admission and we'll see later. And then law happened, and I think I really fell in love with it. I love this profession for the dynamism it holds. After that, of course, I worked for now almost 13 years, and I also pursued my MBA. This was at Sri University, which is based out in Odisha, Cuttack, and I pursued my human resources and finance, and turned out to be a gold medalist there. And yes, art of living is what makes me smile, what makes me give me my personality. So I am really indebted to it, and I'm proudly and humbly faculty, and I teach the happiness programs there. Yeah, that's about it.
That's so nice. I think only someone who has a sort of spiritual leaning would say both proudly and humbly in the same sentence. And I know and sort of mean it, right? So I totally get what you mean by that. Rachna, I said that you are a gaming lawyer. How is this? Please explain to me, of course, to the audience, what is gaming law, and what do you mean by gaming lawyer? Like, assume that we know nothing. Genuinely, I know nothing, but let's assume that you're speaking to people who have no idea about the law, and why is gaming law even required?
So I would like to tell you, first imagine of some hero in Bollywood who just, you never heard about and suddenly came up as a bang, and everybody was in love with him or her. It is just that kind of a sector, which was not recognized earlier, though it has a lot of legal sanctions in the West. But India just came up with it during the COVID times. It just boom, banged and became a blockbuster. So all the big fours reports, if you see, they have given high numbers to it that it was going to be the next, thing in the next 10 years at least. It's numbers in terms of revenue, in terms of gamers in Asia, or if you see numbers in terms of India as gaming platforms, India as producing gamers, it is second largest in the world. Yeah, and the revenues are also in the same terms. And recently, Economic Times had introduced a report which said there will be 1 lakh jobs on the cards for 2023 in the gaming sector.
Wow.
So that is how it is booming. It is, I would not call it anymore a sun rising sector. It is a blockbuster in itself. It's making its way very silently and slowly, but there is a lot happening on the legal front. And what do you mean by gaming is everything that you see is gaming. You playing a Ludo on the digital front, it's gaming. You play fantasy cricket on Dream 11, it's gaming. You do poker, rummy, or any other part of it is gaming. Esports, fantasy, everything has come under gaming. But yes, if the laws, I would say they are still in the nascent stage. There is a lot of work that is happening in that area, and we will speak about it more.
Yeah, of course. But I just want to sort of little bit unpack what you said when you spoke about fantasy, esports. Like, are these all genre? Because see, I am an absolute dumbo. I don't know anything about gaming. So this fantasy, esports, all that are genre of gaming, is it? Or
Yes,
and
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And there is a very rampant discussion, which has always garnered the industry is limelight and limelight of the judiciary as well. That what is the distinction between gaming and gambling? Yeah. So, and it has been laid down by Supreme Courts in three major judgments, which was in 1957, 1968, and 1996. And they said there has to be a game of skill and there has to be a game of chance, and it is only measured by the dominant factor. If the skill is high up, even there is a element of chance, then it will be termed as a game of skill. So that is the test for it, and that is how game of skills are known as game of skills. How do you measure it? Very simply, if you see that when you play any game and you are seeing, okay, that you're trying your intuitiveness, you're putting your awareness, you're putting your mind, you're analyzing, you're strategizing, you checking of what might be on the other side, all it's happening in the mind, then you know it's a game of skill. Yeah, because it requires a lot of experience, awareness, a lot of strategy, a lot of calculation. And if somebody else is playing it to you and you are wagering or betting on that, so you are also analyzing all these factors and then wagering on it. Then it becomes a game of skill.
so essentially, just to synthesize what you said, this whole debate between gambling and gaming is put to rest by this one test, which is uh, if the skill level required is higher than the chance, then it is a game. If the chance is higher, then it is gambling, which is illegal. So that is not allowed. We know it. But in game, and when we speak about skill level and gambling and gaming, I presume you're speaking about like things like card games, like rummy. I don't know, any game where we wager.
Yeah, dummy, bridge,
Bridge.
poker, anything, flush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, any game where we wager money or we pay with money, that will be part of this. That will come under the ambit of this discussion.
Yes.
So those games don't fall into esports and fantasy. They fall into a third category, is it?
This is the first category where all the judgments are formed. It's based by the Supreme Court, and then the game of skill judgment came out. And
Okay.
later have come fantasy and sports, esports. Fantasy and esports are a very, very new genre. What we have decisions are based on rummy, horse racing, poker, flush, and bridge.
Okay. All right. But then do they wager also in fantasy and in game? Oh,
Absolutely.
oh, they wager in that also. Oh, sure.
Absolutely. There is a
Okay.
huge market, there's a huge revenue, there are so many players. So, dream fantasy or dream fantasy sports are so relevant. If you see in terms of wagering, that there's some players are playing in real life, and you on the basis of that making your teams, yeah, checking their experiences, checking their statistics of records, and making your team. So there a lot of money is pumped in, and basis that you win or lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is
Since
basically a simulation of real life.
Yes, that is fantasy sports. And since that is where you put in all your money and you win, but you put in your money wagering, you're winning, but still it is a game of skill. Why? Because it is winning the test factor of having skill in places of chance.
Ah, okay. All right. So now, Rachna, what is the legal? What are the, as in, what is a lawyer doing over here, right? Like, why can't any other lawyer who's not a gaming lawyer or a tech lawyer? What is so different about this that we need? I believe that we need specialization. Let me preface that, but just to sort of give people a context of what is the legal angle to it.
So to rephrase your question, you are asking of why do you need a lawyer in the gaming sector, right? Okay. So it is not just that you will have to look into the litigations, the compliance, the regulations, which is very much an everyday job of a lawyer who's a gaming lawyer. Because in just the last 2 years, when COVID was there were three states which banned these online games, which were games of skill, and then they were struck down by different courts, and then different promulgations of ordinances, notifications came up. Yeah. And right now, India government is deciding to bring a central legislation, which is not currently the affairs because it is a state level run legislation. We need a central level legislation, which is just
Sorry. I'm going to interrupt and just sort of simplify a little bit what you're saying. Because, so essentially, what you're saying is a lawyer is required because there are two or three things that happen on an everyday basis in the gaming industry. First is you have to comply with rules, and that also I didn't know that there are specific rules. Actually, I knew, but that there are specific rules that govern gaming and the gaming sector, but they are all like sort of fragmented. They are here and there. Some are in like you said, some are in promulgation, some are in ordinances. There's no one consolidated act, and they are largely driven by the state government rules. So you
yes.
have to figure out, every state where your game is being played, whether you're in compliance. That's one. The second one, you mentioned about litigation. So what are the litigations that happen? And for those who probably don't know, litigation means any dispute that we take to court.
Correct. So I will again help you here, Jenna, with giving an idea of what the lawyer does in gaming. As litigation, I'm just going to speak about it. But yes, there are a lot of regulations wherein, in terms of advertisement in this sector of gaming, is also regulated. Okay, amount of
Okay.
time or money spent can also be put under a policy. And of course, please note that there is no one law right now for online gaming. Yeah, so there is what the central government is trying to do. Now, when I speak about litigations, there are a lot of PILs that has been this have been put it before the high courts. Why? Because it is said that it is detrimental to the youth. It's becoming addictive to them. It is bringing a lot of disruption in the society, and that all is true. Anything which gets beyond a boundary becomes troublesome. But yes, this can always be controlled by way of regulations and setting up compliances and with the nodal ministry. But gaming lawyer will have a lot of work to do in terms of looking at all the contracts, looking at the litigations, dealing with all kind of compliances that is coming in forms of orders, judgments, because here you, while you are dealing with gaming, you have to look at each state. There is not one rule that you can look at. You have to look at laws of each state and then comply, whether you can allow a player from that particular state to play on your platform or not. So it's a lot of work for a lawyer who's gaming, a lawyer to do all this and keep it in shape. Otherwise, you can be struck down by different state government laws, right? So geofencing is one thing which we have to keep in track. There's customer support,
Okay,
consumer.
sorry. Can you explain what is geofencing?
Geofencing is basically when you have laws from all over India. So if there are 32 states and there are 32 different acts that you have to look into, then it means that if a state has banned that gaming, then you have to put certain softwares in your gaming platform through which the players of that state cannot log into your platform and play because it is banned. So that is technically known as geofencing.
Okay. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so there is litigation, there is contractual, there is compliances, and I would really like to say that whoever is thinking of becoming a gaming lawyer, please be ready to do a lot of research because this is a nascent industry, really growing at a very rampant speed. You will have to really make a lot of researches on daily issues cropping up, which will be very unexpected issues, and you will have to compare what the Western laws are saying or what is there a common law, what have the judgments been saying all around, and then present the case accordingly. Yeah, and there are some very interesting bodies which are helping the gaming industry, such as AIGF, IAMI. You have for fantasy and esports equally. You should also be keeping a track.
Can you just give the full form of those things?
All India Gaming Federation. IMI is Internet and Mobile Association of India. Then you have Fantasy Sports India Federation. Likewise. So these three, four, if you keep a track, you will know what is happening on the legal front. And it's very important to associate and make this industry grow with the help of these kind of regulating bodies, which are private regulating bodies at the moment.
Okay, lovely. You gave me a lovely segue into my next question, which was, why is it important, Rachna, that you have a specialized gaming lawyer? Like, why can't I do it? I have never done gaming, but like, any random regular lawyer who's not, what is it that like a gaming lawyer bring in? Do you need to know how to play the game? Do you need to know the background? Like, why is it that you need a specialized gaming lawyer?
I would say that it's good to know or have some background before you jump into the technology and the gaming sector, because gaming will involve a lot of technology. You will have to deal day in, day out with different kind of tools, and you will be doing all the agreements for it, right? Negotiating it as the lawyer and dealing with all the litigations that are happening around it, represent the meaty to the meaty or governmental agencies.
Sorry, meaty, you may have to say is the...
You may have to represent at MITI, that is the Ministry of Electronics and Technology. You might have to go and meet different kind of judicial members to explain the operations and the mechanisms behind these gaming platforms. So I'm not saying that you need to know the game. It's good if you know it, but please learn about what's happening in this industry if you jump into it. If you have knowledge, it will be easier for you to move faster in this industry and be in sync with what is happening. I'm not saying that a specialization is a must, but I'm saying become aware, study, research, and doing a few workshops or listening about it or anything related to it which gives you knowledge is highly recommended.
Yeah, so what I hear you say is that, see, when it comes to gaming, it's and you've also said this couple of times, that it's a very labor intensive from our side, from a lawyer side, it's a very labor intensive field. Like, we have a lot to do. So a generic sort of lawyer may not have the time to put into this, and that is why you need specialists who understand like for example, I probably am not the right fit because I'm quite technology and I are not best friends, like we don't really get along very well. So it's probably not for me, but for people like you or for others who are both interested in technology and interested in gaming, that adds a very sort of strong perspective to the gaming lawyer. And then there's so much work that that's it. Even if they do all this only their whole life, still their time will be less. So okay, now Rachna, if you want to like assume that you're speaking to young lawyers or students, and they are quite inspired by what you said and they want to get into gaming law, but what is it that you will say, how do you think they should take their career from law school? How should they plan? Because I'll tell you why I ask this. I always believe that before you become specialized, you should be in a generic field. You should understand basics, because only in a generic field you understand basics, little of everything. It informs your judgment, and that you can apply to your whichever field you choose. So that's my opinion. But what is yours, and what tips would you give?
So to the young lawyers, I really want to say more adding to it, that I also want to tell the first generation lawyers that firstly, please don't panic. Don't be in haste to take a decision of what your passion is. Don't try to figure it out so much. Eventually you will land up of what you're passionate about in terms of law or maybe in any other sector. But wait, keep patient, keep moving with whatever you have in hand. And to add to that, if you want to become a technology lawyer or a gaming lawyer, keep looking what's happening in this field first. Read, yeah, research. LinkedIn is such a great platform. Find the lawyers who are working in this field, try to interact with them and do certain workshops, attend certain webinars, listen to podcasts, do whatever is available. There is a huge amount of content that is available, and enrich yourself. Educate yourself, right? Don't wait for somebody to handhold you and bring you till there. Educate, and then if you decided to become one, float yourself in the market, land up with internships, and become a tech and gaming lawyer. I would not say that you will be a pro at it at one go. It is challenging to be in the technology field because there are too many developments. It's like a race you are running. There's a lot to be done. As Jenna said it is very labor intensive. Yeah, you have to have that passion, dynamism, and ready to meet challenges attitude to get through this dynamic field of gaming. But I really want to tell you that if you choose this field, you are going to reward yourself for the coming years, that you're going to outshine yourself in this field. And yes, you have to work hard. But I will add to what Jenna said, that please do some basics first, and then at the side by side start studying about tech and gaming and get into gaming. It has a very, very bright future.
Lovely. But when you talk about basics, like just to specify your answer a bit, what would you say that, say what are the subjects that you think they should focus on?
IPR, technology laws, data laws, contractual drafting. These four you have to follow. Without this, it's not easy.
What about constitutional provisions, or understanding state versus center, those kind of?
That goes without saying. It has to be, because Constitution gives right to all the states to promulgate such laws, and then you have to see where you have a right to business. When gaming and gambling is differentiated, Article 19(1) of the Constitution really plays a very big role. So you have to know the Constitution. It goes without saying.
Okay. I think you've sort of answered in a very comprehensive manner. Now, I think this is my last question for this segment, and then we'll go on to my favorite segment, which we call 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Because you have worked, you have this diverse sort of experience, and we are speaking to young lawyers. I don't remember whether I've actually included this question in your questionnaire that I sent you in advance, but as you were talking, I felt like I should ask you this question, which is, what would you say today are the gaps in our Indian legal system, and how do you think you and I and all of us, because we really are in the system today, how can we all band together to work towards it so that the next 10, 20, 30 years we really take things in a better way?
Lovely, Jenna. That is something I wish that every lawyer should start, contemplating about. And when I see you working towards it, it really inspires me on a daily basis. To answer this, I
Thank
should
you.
say first, we all should be a law-abiding citizen. If we say we are law-abiding, let's respect the law of the country. That's the first step. Secondly, to make changes and to progress in terms of law in India, we should understand that uh, taking benefit out of the lacuna, the loopholes, doesn't help the law of the country, right? Of course, there are many outdated laws, and the government of India is trying to bring in a lot of changes. Let's respect that. Let's work hand in hand. And I think if you start valuing the law profession and reaching out in time to these lawyers instead of finding alternatives. As simple as if I would say that if you need an affidavit or if you need a paper to be registered and stamped, then you consult a lawyer and you do it, you're going to save such huge cost of litigations, which might happen in the worst case scenario. Yeah. So value the channel of law, value the profession. I think that can help a lot in building a great law structure of India in the future.
Very true. I'm always amazed at how this is the most common answer. I mean, you've actually given an answer to the question I'm going to ask later. So I don't know, maybe you can change your answer then. But about how we all, I think all of us lawyers, we say, please come to us earlier. We are all here to help you. We are not here to take your money. Yeah, I mean, we do take money because we work, but we are not here. We are not leeches.
Right.
So yes, but beautiful answer, Rachna. And now we're moving to my favorite segment, which is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I ask you five of something, four of something, three of something like that. Okay. So the first question, because you do so many things, I don't know how you do it. Five productivity tips that you will give anyone.
First, have a routine for yourself. Sleep on time, wake up on time. Secondly, productivity can increase a lot by getting into yoga and meditation. Make it a part of your life. Third, productivity increases when you communicate and socialize also by taking work breaks. Very, very important. Even when I have a work from home, I get up from my laptop, even if I've spent 4 hours doing on something, I move from my laptop, I go and talk to all my colleagues, have a chai break, and I come back. And I have seen that the productivity increases. Four, listen to song and dance. And five, try new skills. Yeah, be creative.
You've like really given me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like perfect. Superb. You did spend a minute thinking about each of them. So lovely. I agree with most of them. Actually, I agree with, yeah, I think all of them. What most? I agree with all of them. I was never, very recently, I got gotten into meditation, as I told you the last time we spoke. But I am truly, I'm swearing by it now. I'm telling everybody, yay, yay, meditation, karo, karo. So, anyway, four books that you would recommend.
Okay, so honestly, I've not been too much of into books, but two, three books which have really made a difference to me. First, I've been reading Atomic Habits and I really loved it. Secondly, I have read a few books by Shri Ravi Shankar ji, and they have really changed my perspective. One is, it's a very small book by Shri Ravi Shankar which says Mind Matters. It's amazing. And I've also read a book which is known as Secret of Relationship, again by Shri Ravi Shankar ji. And it has really helped me in improving my relationships. And fourth, it is one of my mentors who is also a very senior teacher of the art of living. He's recently authored this book, and it is one of the best sellers on Amazon by the name of uh, Stories in Sutras, yeah, by Virat Charania. I highly recommend it because it speaks about our Indian history. It speaks about our Indian great minds, yeah, from Hanuman to Kabir to Shankaracharya ji. Yeah, I think every person should read that. These five
Wow.
can change our life.
Yeah. It sounds like all these, I mean, out of the lot, I've only read Atomic Habits. And Atomic Habits is the bestseller of our podcast because every third person recommends it. Of course, for good reason. I've also read it. It's changed the way I do things as well. So, but I haven't read the other books. I have actually not really been exposed so much to Sri Ravi Shankar ji. Even though I am deeply spiritual and I have had a lot
Yes.
of spiritual leanings, but somehow, that has not happened. So let me try. I will buy it and I will read it and then I'll tell you how I felt. Now, three tips. You have said a lot of things in and through the conversation, but three tips for young lawyers, young graduates.
So the three tips is please complete your LLB. After that, don't jump onto an LLM only until and unless you really want to study again. If you want to choose the field to practice, jump into practicing. It will make you actually learn more. After that, do study a little more in terms of your specialization. And I would add that today MBA and law has been integrated, and the top law schools and MBA schools in India are offering that. I again, I take pride in doing it long before such combination became very relevant. And I tell you, it has been the turning point of my career. How? Because when you do an MBA, you will know how companies are operating. You know, when marketing team head will come and tell you, hey, this is my vision, hey, this is my mission, you will not get flabbergasted. You will know, oh, I have studied this in marketing in my MBA. So why did I choose to study MBA is only because while I was working as an in-house lawyer, I saw different departments were too much in sync with each other, and the law department used to feel left alone. But then I chose to study MBA. And when I started understanding all these verticals of marketing, finance, operations, HR, now I know how what these departments are doing, and I'm totally in sync with all those departments in a company. And that adds a value for me to be an in-house lawyer. So always do that you want to do. If you want to do an MBA after law, please do it. If you want to pursue an LLM, please do it. Don't be hesitant of how you're going to answer this or what will the world say, hey, why did you switch your careers? Please note that you will make something out of it very unique.
Lovely. Actually, I've been going back and forth about whether I should do MBA, whether I should not. But then now I have two kids, and now I feel like, oh God, I have to leave them, go, all that. So probably I feel like I've missed the bus somewhere. But what you said made a lot of sense because when you said the legal department always feels out of sync, I could relate to what you're saying. And then understanding how things work, understanding the lingo of how people speak, all of that. And
Not
yes,
only that, you will be able to help them in making policies.
yeah.
You'll be able to help marketing lead into better negotiations, because the marketing is one which spends a lot of money. But if you understand what they're spending on, what kind of tools, and you can be the lawyer and also add some value to their department, you are going to be an asset as a lawyer.
Yeah, of
So
course.
do that.
So you are like not just a lawyer, but you're also a policy. You're also advising.
Yes,
You're not just protecting, but you're also like advising, defending, saying that you can do this better. Yeah, that's
yes,
pretty much our role. That's
yes,
true. Yeah, correct. So it makes us a better lawyer.
right.
Okay.
I would say we all are very good lawyers. You are here to achieve or be successful. It not only makes you a better lawyer, it makes you a very unique lawyer.
True.
There are very few lawyers with such deadly combinations become that deadly lawyer.
Yes, that's true. Now, did you give 3 points or did you give only one? This you said this. Do you have anything more to add to this?
To the young generation of lawyers, I just want to say that start doing something. Don't sit on the bed. Don't keep scrolling your phones. Go, get out. Just sit in the court, listen to some cases. Go out and ask for work. There is no dearth of work. Move yourself and get going. That's all.
Yes. Here. I agree with you. Now, two life lessons that you have learned in your life so far.
Every failure is a story of success coming your way. And second experience is that never doubt yourself. Yeah. You will be so proud of yourself one day when you don't doubt and keep doing what you want to, that the world will start seeing it and they will start clapping for you.
Amazing. I think this is somewhere, like how God puts people in places so that you can hear what you need to hear at that point of time. I feel this was told for me, although you said it for everybody else. Very, very um useful, but also inspiring advice. Just stick to your lane, keep doing your work, don't bother, don't second guess. And finally, the best piece of advice that you've ever received.
Yeah, this is one thing which I really wanted to say, and I thank you. My mother always used to say this: बारिश बरसती है, उसका काम है बरसना, मैं चलूंगी, मेरा काम है चलना. And this has been
Wow.
my guiding light, that come what may, don't stop, keep moving. Yes.
Yes, lovely. On this note, there's a beautiful note to actually end the podcast, because we will, um, and also something that for all of us to remember. So I will quote you on this, but this is one thing. I mean, of course, I'll credit your mom, but I'll quote you. I'll quote you on this. We'll say
And
Rachna's mom, but
sure.
yeah.
And Jen,
To end the podcast, is there anything else that you want to share? Because I know you do workshops, you do so many things. So the floor is yours, Rachna. Anything more that you want to share, which I've not specifically asked you, please let me know.
Jenna, you've introduced me very well till the ending. It has been lovely. But I really want to say that I've just started a workshop on gaming laws. It is spread over 2 hours for 4 days. We've just started it today and it has had a very good response. We're going to cover in depth of what's happening in gaming laws in India, and of course, we're going to see it from the angle of Western laws also. So, every young generation lawyer who intends to be tech and gaming lawyer is really invited. You can follow me on LinkedIn and get all the details there. And it will be not just another workshop. I can promise that it will give you a lot of insight.
Lovely. And Rachna, in case the workshop is over by the time this episode releases, will you do it again? Do you have a recording? If people need to reach out to you, how will that happen?
Yes, so we are going to do these classes by every month. That is what the plan is like. We're going to do a lot of webinars and conferences also for the audience to understand it better. And yes, you will keep seeing such posts, and you can keep coming whenever you find time for yourself.
And what's your LinkedIn ID, like your full, just your name,
Uh,
or?
my LinkedIn ID is Rachna Shroff, RACHNASHROFF, and you will find me there.
Okay, lovely. Anyway, we'll leave everything in the show notes, in the description and everything, so people can find you. I would love to attend a gaming law workshop. Maybe not this month because I haven't planned my schedule, but maybe next month or the next one, because I want to know more about gaming law. So lovely, Rachna. Thank you so much for making time, and I will see you very soon in Bombay. We will connect after the podcast and figure out a time. But
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Jenna. It's, I don't know, I feel like a big time connection with you, and it was lovely to do this podcast.
Thank you, Rachna.
Thank you.